Welcome along to Parnell Park. It is the go-ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship. We've got a double-header today. Fianna taking on Thomas Davis in the first game. Then a little bit later on, it is Raheny against last year's All-Ireland Club finalists Kilmacud Crokes. Fianna, who've won the Dublin Senior Championship 5 times but haven't captured it since 2001 up against Thomas Davis, who've won it 3 times, and that was the 3 in a row, 89, 90 and 91. They recently won the Senior 2 Championship and got to the senior final the following year. Have yet to get back to the final since, although there hasn't been a whole pile of time between that and this. Coleman Goggins with me for the both games today. Coleman, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Oisin, I bumped into a footballer who was involved in that 3 in a row team, JJ Martin, who coached me when I was with a Dublin junior team for a while. So some of the old warriors are still around, keeping an eye on Thomas Davis, hoping this young team can maybe emulate what they achieved back in the late 80s, early 90s. We
had a good start to the Dublin Championship, certainly our live coverage anyway last night. Ballymun Kickham's just about getting the job done against Clontarf, 15 points to 14. They were 7 points to no score up after about 12 minutes, and Clontarf played their way back into the game. I can't imagine either team building up a lead of that much in this game today. These two, there's going to be very little to separate them, I imagine.
Yeah, and I expect it to be quite physical as well. Both teams are not afraid to get stuck into one another, so they'll probably be very tight. There'll be some very physical encounters across the field. I think last night, you know, Ballymun had it so easy in the first 10 or 12 minutes that they obviously took their foot off the gas, got a little bit careless with some of their foot passes, some of their play, some of their shot taking, and then gave Clontarf a window, who excellently came back into the game, albeit Ballymun did manage to see it out. You don't expect to see that gap between these two sides, given where Davis was at a couple of years ago in terms of reaching the county final. They maybe don't have the star names, we'll say, that maybe the Fianna have, in the likes of Conor McHugh, Aaron Byrne, Brian O'Leary, who's played underage, and of course Johnny Cooper and Owen Merchant. So they maybe don't have that scattering of inter-county personnel that the Fianna have, but as a team and a collective, the unit work very hard. Obviously Cian Murphy, who's been involved with the Dublin setup for the last number of years, will shore up their full back line. So it's more a collective rather than that individual brilliance that tends to generate the impetus for Thomas Davis. So you can expect to see, you know, some of the big names stand out for Fianna, but you also will expect Thomas Davis to not allow them time and space on the ball, as Clontarf did maybe in the opening exchanges against Ballymun last night.
I'm not going to patronise Fianna, because I'm sure they tell you this themselves. In the championship over the last 4 years, they have not delivered. Quarter-finalists each time. Their ambition is higher than that.
Yeah, and they were successful a number of years ago with underage success. They won 3 or 4 under 21 titles in a row in Dublin here, 8 championships, and there was this expectation that the younger guys would come through and that then senior championships will be delivered. So they've probably, you know, who's for me to say they've underachieved, you know, whatever the expectation they've set out. They obviously want to win a Dublin championship. They haven't been successful in getting there. They've certainly a couple of times shown that they have the ability within the team to go on and at least get to a county final and give themselves an opportunity, but they haven't managed to get to the level of the Crokes, the Ballymuns, the Vincents in the last number of years, where they've been able to eke out games when things are going against them and get that important result that pushes them into a final or wins a Dublin County final. So that's the bar they're chasing. Admittedly, you know, in the last year, Vincent's maybe have dropped back versus where they were at, given the turnover in bodies that they've had. But you look at the consistency around Crokes and Ballymun and the players that they have coming through all the time. That's where Fianna need to get to, because they have the individual talent. It's bringing that all together as a collective, and if they could, you know, mirror what some of the other teams without the star-studded names do in terms of that collective, then they give themselves a great chance. So they have the talent, they have the ability. They've certainly shown previously that they can win championships at underage. It's a matter of, can they bring it through to the senior level? And
as you say, Fianna have had a youngish squad. You take some of the star names out of it over the last couple of years, so they will have developed. So maybe, just maybe, I'm a little bit harsh in saying they haven't delivered, but the reason I say that is because of the talent that's in that squad and the talent that they know they have. For Thomas Davis last year, quarter-finalists. The year before, group stage elimination. The year before that, finalists just a year after getting promoted. And the year before that, senior championship 2 winners. They've come a long way in a short space of time.
They have a massive club in terms of the growth underage. There's been obviously a huge amount of building going on around Kiltipper, Tallaght, up around where Thomas Davis are based in terms of the clubhouse. So underage, there's massive growth coming through the club, and that's starting to filter through into the senior team, where there's younger faces coming into the setup, adding to, you know, and Davis have been a club that have been around for a long time, and certainly when I played against them with Ballantyre, you got nothing soft, and they've continued to have that. But they're starting to grow through that underage talent now that's coming through the ranks, which gives them huge impetus. A bit like maybe Na Fianna had in the past, where they had a lot of numbers underage that led to success at those underage levels. So, while again, without repeating myself, but they don't maybe have that inter-county run that are spread of players that Na Fianna have, they certainly as a collective know how to work together. They've young talent coming through that's supporting the team, whereas Na Fianna are a team that over the last number of years people have been expecting them maybe to get to that county final and win a county final. It hasn't happened, so there does come a time where it's use the lavatory or get off the pot, so to speak. So there probably is a need on Na Fianna to show this year, and push through and see if they can get there without putting ultimate pressure on them. It really is, the Conor McHughs, the Johnny Coopers, those guys are starting to age a little bit. When I say that, it's coming to the back end of 20s rather than anything else, but it's trying to deliver now against the talent that anyone around Dublin knows that Na Fianna have within their ranks.
Several players on both sides were part of that 2017 minor final that Na Fianna won by 1 point. They were coached by Johnny Cooper. He does still look young enough to be a minor, but he hasn't been for quite a while. They won that 1-8 to 1-7. David O'Hanlon, Adam Rafter, Ono D, Brian O'Leary, David Lacey amongst those on the Na Fianna side, Davy Keogh, Sean Farrelly, Eamon Conroy, Sean Kennedy, Dylan Caffrey, Owen and Josh Lambert on the Thomas Davis side, all young enough to certainly have been involved in that anyway. Do you carry those kind of, I'm going to use the term grudge, but of course I mean that in a sporting context, do you carry that kind of grudge forward? Is that in your memory, especially if you're on the losing side of that, a result like that, and then you come up against them at this level? Do you still bring that with you?
Yeah, I'm not so sure you do when you get to this level, when you're at this stage of things. It's ultimately about setting a marker today now where you're trying to go in Championship 2022. Both Na Fianna and Thomas Davis would have realistic aspirations of certainly making out of the group and getting to the quarter-final stages, but that's difficult within the group given how competitive the championship is now and the way it's structured. So really the key priority for teams starting out in championships, can you get a result first day out that then gives you the opportunity to see where you sit for round two, as opposed to chasing a result going into round two. So grudge or no grudge, it's really about putting a performance together, eking out a result and giving yourself that ideal start to Championship 2022.
Thomas Davis got to the minor final a year later and were beaten by Castleknock. Castleknock with a good win against Lucan last night. Just before we start, let's take a moment to remember Dylan Quirk, the Clonalty Rossmore and Tipperary hurler. He was such a large part of his community. Being a quality hurler was just one aspect of who he was, and his memory will live on, and we want to send our condolences to anyone who knew Dylan, who played with him, who was friends with him, who came across him at all. A very nice chap, a really good guy, and one that we're going to miss. And we're underway. Thomas Davis against Na Fianna. Owen Lambert. Gavin Carruth, a nephew of Michael Carruth, the gold medalist from Barcelona, and probably still the Irish high jump record holder. If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, you'll have to Google it. When it was announced that he won gold, he jumped high in the air. There we go.
We had frisbee last night, high jump tonight, I don't know.
But he wasn't actually a high jumper.
We're going to get through all the sports.
You remember when he was announced as the winner? He
I
jumped.
do.
Yeah, there we go.
Unfortunately, I do remember.
Yes, you do. Here's one you didn't expect. Michael Carruth, my former boxing coach.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, who knew he was on a computer game?
Long ball delivered into the forward line. It's a great catch. Can he turn and twist and get the shot away? No, but he can give it to Carruth. That's a good foot pass. He continues his run. Didn't get it back though. Away it goes from Cian Murphy, who's playing up top. Murphy gets it back. Steps inside. Bottled up. Goes to ground. No free, says the referee. And now it is a free.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky. I think Cian Murphy there too came across him. Probably was fouled. Referee obviously didn't deem it so. Na Fianna are big, they're strong in the tackle, so it's not going to be easy to win a free when you're hit like that. Clearly, but good defensive work from them all the same.
Merchant getting those legs going. Merchant still going. He'll go all day. Here's Paddy Quinn. The vastly experienced Paddy Quinn against the very fast Owen Merchant. Back to Paddy Quinn. That's really well taken. David Lacey gets it over. First point of the game comes from David Lacey.
Yeah, great score, quick hands. Looked like they'd lost possession twice there, but managed to shovel it out again and get Lacey away onto his left foot. Huge amount of space in front of him. Decided not to take it on and just knock it over the bar. But again, it's the quick hands, the speed of thought there that creates the space for Lacey and an opening score.
We mentioned that minor final that these two played in 2017. Lacey actually scored the goal that day for Na Fianna. Carruth. So much goes through him. He's got options inside, just recycles it here to Ryan Deegan. Deegan, from a tight enough angle, that would be an exquisite score. And it does go over, and it's a great point from Ryan Deegan.
Yeah, great score from Ryan Deegan. He's hugely influential for this team. Looks to get on the ball and create, but also is well able to support in terms of scoring prowess. Needs to win ball right around the middle of the field. You'll see last night there was huge pressure put on the kick out from Clontarf by Ballymun. So far both keepers have opted to go short, given the attacking team, I suppose, or team of possession the ball. So going to have to work hard for turnovers. That's done here by Davises.
Finds its way into the hands of Sallier. That's easy for the goalkeeper. O'Hanlon was never going to be beaten from there. Paddy Quinn. Doran launches it long. Michael Day was named. He hasn't started. Doran is coming to replace him. That's a mark, but they just continue to play it. Fallon has plenty of options running with him. Fallon. Deegan's ahead of him. He gets a shot away, does Sallier, and again it's left short. That's two that have dropped into the hands of the goalkeeper. Really disappointing from a Thomas Davis point of view.
Yeah, because they're putting pressure on the Fianna. They're getting on ball. It's just taking the wrong option there. Two poor executions. Drop short to the goal. He gives the ball back to the Fianna. Gives them a chance to build.
Baxter off to Quinn. Bottled up as David Lacey, but he got himself out of trouble really well. The defender read that. Fallon cut it out. Got it off to Owen Kirby. Josh Lambert. Carruth. You mentioned before the game that it will be physical, and when you said that, I know you didn't mean dirty, you meant just there'd be big hits and guys would have to really use their strength to get out of contact and all that. We're already seeing how important that is in this game. Fallon spilled it, bending his back to get it back was Donal Ryan, and it's a free for Thomas Davis.
Yeah, you're not going to break the tackles easy. Conor McHugh working really hard there, managed to get a turnover. Donal Ryan was unlucky there. It looked like he'd been tackled when he was trying to lift it, then touched it on the ground after, hands the ball back to Ryan Deegan for a free kick. But it's competitive. Everyone is looking for the ball and working hard to try and free up a bit of space.
It's a cushion pass, well taken out in front. Fullback Cian Murphy is up there. Well, he's named number 3, but he's not playing at fullback. And somehow he stole away with it and slipped it off to Sallier. Sallier thought about having a go. It will be Davy Keogh, the Dublin hurler, didn't catch it right.
No, poor effort again. That's 3 chances. They've dropped 2 into the goalkeeper's hands. They worked hard. Cian Murphy, I'm not sure how he managed to get down and lift the ball. Great kick out.
Was that a foul on Doran? Yes, it was.
Yeah, great kick. The ball was down early from Dave O'Hanlon there, drove it out the field. Looked like they had chance to get away there, so probably a clever foul that they didn't allow him catch the ball and move it forward.
The other 2 teams in this group, St Jude's and Skerries Harps, they meet at 5 in Balgriffin. The Fianna play St Jude's next, then Skerries. Paddy Quinn. Obviously you've worked it out yourself, haven't you? But I'll tell you anyway, that means that Thomas Davis are up against Skerries next. Off it goes from Adam Rafter. Johnny Cooper laid it off to Donal Ryan. The Fianna still have a man down. And play will stop.
Yeah, I think just as he offloaded the ball, Ryan Deegan caught him. I don't think there was anything dirty in it. I think that was just a coming together as the ball was maybe just popped out, 5 split second beforehand. The linesman has come in now. He's sending the referee the direction of the umpires at the other end. Yeah, it looks like he's gone in to have a chat inside. Yeah, I think it was really just an awkward coming together rather than anything malicious from Ryan Deegan on that occasion.
Well, Adam Rafter is back up. That's good to see.
So I think it's a change of shirt for the goalkeeper inside. Yeah, Robert Crilly is having to strip off there, obviously clashing with Nafina's colours, so asked to change.
Well, good that they have a spare jersey. It's much more sightly than wearing a bib. Lacey looking inside. Good hand in there from the defender, but it does spill kindly for Nafina. Good turn by Byrne. Lacey measures that one perfectly. His second of the game, Nafina in front.
That's a great score from Lacey. He was involved in the move a little bit earlier. Didn't even look to check where the posts were. 45 metres out, swung his boot at it and sails it over the bar. Really great score from Nafina, and they lead despite the fact that they really haven't had the possession, given that Davises have been more dominant in the opening 8 minutes here.
That's a very well taken mark. Murray showed too much of that to Johnny Cooper, and Cooper stripped the possession. Here's Paddy Quinn. Wanted to try and find Cooper. Murray is battling to try and get it back, but no luck for him. Doran spills it and then regathered it. It looks like they're making basic errors when they spill it like that. Of course, they're doing that because the pressure on them is unreal.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned at the outset about the physicality in the game. You know, you're going to have to work great take inside.
Fantastic, and he didn't call the mark. O'Leary wants to play it. Comes in here to Owen Merchant. We know he can score goals. Didn't catch it right. In fairness, he was crowded out.
Yeah, he had Conor McHugh shouting at him there, but you couldn't just get himself turned and freed up to pull the trigger.
Well, Kerry were talking about their long wait ending recently. It would have been a lot shorter if it wasn't for Owen Merchant. Got that spectacular goal against the Kingdom in Croke Park in the All-Ireland final a couple of years back. Ryan Deegan, who has featured for Dublin in the O'Byrne Cup. Quinn chasing him, putting pressure on. Deegan fumbles. And a free out for Nafina.
Yeah, serious pressure from both teams. You know, when either are on the ball, they're working really hard, not giving them the chance to get away with the ball. And there's basic errors, as you've rightly said there. Ryan Deegan dropped the ball there and ultimately lies down on it and picks it up off the ground.
Doran's after picking out O'Leary. O'Leary has a runner. That was McHugh, didn't go to him, instead went to Aaron Byrne. Back to O'Leary, outside is Baxter. No foul, says the referee. In fairness, he's letting it go, and it's a free out.
Yeah, I think it was the right call. It was a little bit artistic when he went to ground there, more so than a hard hit, I think.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. It was artistic. When I say the referee is letting it flow, I was speaking to David Goff recently, and he said, I want to pick you up on something. He said, we don't let it flow, we let it go if no one's breaking the rules, which was a fair point. Well, he didn't exactly put it like that, but that was the point he made. And Murray gets a point for Thomas Davis, and a good one as well.
Yeah, deserved score. They've been the better team in the opening 10 minutes. I think they've a couple short, they've won wide, they've been on the ball more. Definitely, they've dominated possession, so they're well deserving of having tied the game up after 10 minutes.
The exact quote was, "It's not up to me to let the game flow. It's up to me to observe the rules."
Yeah, I'm sure if you told him he wasn't letting it flow, there'd be some other thing he'd have said, you know. So look, he did well to explain it, I suppose.
Yeah. And it's a free into Thomas Davis. And they go backwards with it. Here's Sean Kennedy. Chasing after him is Aaron Byrne. Deegan. Looked like it was to the front, but the referee lets it go. He'll stop now.
Yeah, I do think there's probably a free kick. It was like Deegan did stop and turned his back into him and his shoulder rather than it being a square on shoulder. I don't think Aaron Byrne was overly hurt by the tackle, but I'm not quite sure why he's stopping up the game if it's not a free, or he's probably assuming that there might be a head injury and that he's maybe given an opportunity. But if he doesn't feel it's a free, I think he should let it run on unless he thinks it's a serious incident, and he clearly didn't to not blow the whistle.
Murray, who was in the Dublin under-20 panel this year, wants it back. It's dropped. Was there a foul inside? The referee's blown the whistle. He hasn't committed to a decision. He might go in and talk to his umpire.
Well, I think there's probably 6 referees now that hold Thomas Davis forward line are asking a question here. On a previous free, Thomas Davis there was a little bit of pulling and dragging. It was one of the Fianna guys who ended up on the floor, and the Davis guy had managed to free himself. This instance, it looks like it was Fianna who seemed to be being called out for maybe some illegal and pulling and dragging. Not very clear who he's. Certainly as a Davis.
Owen Kirby is being spoken to. A yellow card for him. I do wonder, will we have another yellow card now?
Well, it's a hot ball now because the free is turned over on the basis that he's after issuing a yellow card, I would imagine. No, I have that wrong too. Maybe we need someone else for this analyst job.
Kirby inside. Well taken by Owen Kirby, or Murray inside I should say. Well taken by Murray. Dropped by Kirby, tries to regather.
Huge pressure on players when they're on the ball. Someone has a blood injury here potentially.
That's Andy Baxter.
Yeah, huge pressure when players are coming across on the ball there. You're not getting the space and time that we spoke about last night, that in the opening half or opening 10 or 15 minutes that Ballymun were afforded by Clontarf. Certainly they improved on. It looked like he went to ground with the ball and has been penalised for picking it off the ground or touching it on the ground. But huge pressure from the Fianna. They swarm well when they're being threatened inside that 21 metre line.
Well, they're having to make a blood substitution. The Fianna, after all that, have a free out. It looked like they were going to go a point down there, but instead they have the chance to build back up the park. The experienced Gus Farrell is in. Doran pushes it into the path of Donal Ryan. Ryan up against Deegan. The two number 9s going at it, and he's won a free in. Well, Deegan is saying, I held my ground. The referee is saying that you were holding him as opposed to your ground.
Yeah, but even how he engaged the tackle was brilliant. He just gave him a split second to get into his hand and then hit him so hard, Deegan. It was great work. He's unlucky to have the foul given against him.
O'D. Doran. O'D continued his run. Doran held on to it. O'Leary, good turn. Inside is Conor McHugh. O'Leary, that's a big hit and he wins a free in.
Yeah, he's tidy on the ball, O'Leary. There's a high tackle across the neck there. Probably a yellow card going to be presented here as well. Struggling to get into the game, the Fianna forward line. I mean, there's a lot of talent and quality there. David Lacey has obviously got 2 great scores. O'Leary is good on the ball, but they're just not connecting or gelling up in terms of creating scoring opportunities. Yes, they did create that goal opportunity with Merchant, but it wasn't from anything overly spectacular in the forward line. So just taking them a while to feed themselves into the game here.
It's another yellow card for a Thomas Davis player. And that player in question was Owen Lambert. The Fianna look to hit the front again, and they have. Well taken free from David Lacey. Crilly. Ball breaks kindly for Fianna. Here's Baxter. Fouled by Carruth. Byrne laid it off to Lacey, who hits it wide.
Yeah, he pops his hand up to acknowledge that maybe it was the wrong option, but he has been open quarter here. He's 2 from play, 1 from a free, so he is the only one who's firing for Fianna up front at the moment. So right option maybe, just wrong execution.
And he's more than capable of scoring from long range, so I can't blame him for trying. That's hung up by Crilly. It's well taken by Lambert, laid it off. Shorten. Waddick. Saw the inside run of Lambert. Carruth. Waddick. Fianna get back. Thomas Davis get a shot away through the boot of Sallier, but it's another wide. A second wide, but about the 4th or 5th time they've wasted an opportunity when you take the 2 drop shorts and the free that was turned over into consideration. And they've won it back here. They've caught a break, and now they've got a free in.
Yeah, huge pressure again on the kick out. They're working their own kick out very well, but they are putting pressure on the Fianna's kick out and managed to have turned over a couple there. And it gives you a huge opportunity when you're able to win the ball so much closer to the opposition goal in terms of scoring opportunities. Dead in front of the goal, 40 metres out. No pressure.
The breeze is against Thomas Davis in this first half. It's not very stiff, but it is there. Murray spins that one beautifully over. That's a lovely strike, his second of the game.
Yeah, struck through it well there. Gets a good score for Thomas Davis. You know, probably deserved to be in front given the dominance that they've had on the ball, the pressure they're putting on the Fianna's kick out, but through Lacey, the Fianna have managed to stay in the game, but certainly have put a couple of scores on the board despite having a limited amount of possession.
That one was hung up. It breaks kindly for Paddy Quinn, and then he gives away possession. Thomas Davis get out of the corner very well. Here's Ryan Deegan. A little bit of height on that pass, but Josh Lambert still ran onto it. Lambert goes long, and Fianna had an extra man back. He read it very well, and here's Owen Merchant. Fianna thought about going long for a second, but he just hung on to it there. Baxter. Rafter. Baxter. Byrne. Byrne. Three around him, and that left a man free. That man was Donal Ryan, who goes direct. Oh, just slips away from Brian O'Leary. Does manage, well, he almost turned on it, but I think Aaron Shorten just held it up, did enough, and Thomas Davis can counter-attack. Gavin Carruth. Carruth trying to get away from Fitzgerald. It's not easy to do. Does manage to pop it off. Adam Fallon. Johnny Cooper. Well, he left a hand on the back of Fallon, and that was probably the issue. It was actually a good tackle, but just looked like he pushed him.
Yeah, and questioning the referee, is giving away 13 metres there, but great work by Gavin Carruth down the left hand side here. Was on his own. They didn't have much of an option inside him. Knew he had to retain possession. Turned left and right a couple of times. Had a runner to help him out in the end, and then the free is given away by Johnny Cooper. But just not happening for Fianna up front. When the ball goes in, it's not sticking. They've a couple of scores they've got to have been from 40 yards out as opposed to them working anything inside, so their forward line really aren't clicking at the moment, and Davis seem to be set up and understand their system a little bit better than the Fianna do at this point in the game.
Murray, who's already got two, one from a free, make it three, and Thomas Davis leads.
Yeah, great hit again. He's striking through the ball. There's not much of a curl on them. It's pretty much leaving his boot and heading straight over the bar, and he's been consistent in what he's delivered on. But as mentioned, I think Davises know what they're doing a little bit better than maybe Fianna do at the moment, and it's allowing them to dominate without actually seeing that on the scoreboard.
Paddy Quinn. Lacey looking for O'Leary. O'Leary, much to his credit, keeps it in play. He's got McHugh with him. McHugh back to Lacey, or O'Leary, I beg your pardon. Fumbling it there was Gus Farrell. Farrell does get it away though. McHugh. And McHugh squeezes it over. It nearly dropped in. They'll have to settle for the point rather than the goal. We're all square again.
Yeah, great point from Conor McHugh. We mentioned the individual brilliance that maybe is splattered across this Fianna team. You've seen the scores from Lacey. Aaron Byrne has been influential, but Conor McHugh, probably the first time he's got on the ball in 20 minutes, and on a very acute angle knocks it over the bar with left foot. I'm not sure if he was looking to try and drop it in under Robert Crilly's head, but manages to get a score, tied at 4 apiece after 20 minutes.
Level for the third time. Referee with more business to attend to here. Conor McHugh getting a bit of treatment.
I'm not quite sure what the problem is.
The referee went over to have a word with the linesman. Now he's kind of walking casually back, as you can see.
Yeah, there seems to be an issue. Is there a hole in the net? The net has come away from the crossbar, I think, if you can maybe just see at the drop off the crossbar.
Yeah, I can see it now on the right side as we look of the crossbar. Yeah. There's a hole in the net, so I think they have to fix that before we can continue.
We're going to need the step ladder, I think. I was at a Connacht final.
I could just go on your shoulders and fix it.
Yeah, I was at a Connacht final many years ago, and I think it was Roscommon and Mayo. Mayo got a score, and Enon Gavin, who was a cornerback for Roscommon, jumped up to pull the crossbar and pulled the whole crossbar down himself. So I don't think we're in that bad a scenario. But they will need to fix the net.
Well, I don't think there's any talk of that being a goal or anything like that. It did kind of drop through the net. But let's have a look at that McHugh point. It was...
Yeah, this was the opening score, I think, for the Fianna. So it's just looking back on maybe some of the highlights. Opening Lacey coming on to his left boot, knocks it over the bar again. Quick hands there to create it. Davis have probably been more dominant possession-wise. They've certainly put a lot of pressure on kick-outs. The standout players, certainly one of the most effective for them has been Ryan Deegan. But they've worked very hard collectively as a team to try and scupper the Fianna's front line, who have, as we mentioned, that little bit of talent up there, that have that Dublin experience, maybe more so than Davis's have. Probably the system is working a little bit better for Davis. They know what they're trying to achieve, not leaving huge numbers up front, but when they do get on the attack, they're being supported in terms of numbers coming off the shoulder. After 80 minutes, it was 3 points apiece. So we're not going to be blessed with a huge amount of scores, I don't think, across the game, given the physical nature of it. In fairness to Fionn Murray, he's been consistent in terms of his free taking. Conor McHugh, the great score, he ships the ball out. Everyone then seems to chase the ball and just leaves a couple of bodies inside. Manages to pick out Conor McHugh. Very acute angle off his left foot, swings it over the bar to tie it up at 4 apiece. So after 21 minutes or so, it's 4 each. Hole in the net will be resolved. Impromptu water break, and we'll get back at it.
What does this do to a game, this kind of break?
I think it impacts Davis's more than it does Fianna, given that it's Davis's who've started the better, who've been that little bit more dominant. The breeze is probably favouring Fianna, so they're playing against whatever elements are out there, albeit it's not significant. It still has an impact when you're out in the field. So it's probably Davis's momentum that has been broken more than Fianna's, but it does give Fianna a chance to reset. They obviously have some way that they want to set up in terms of their forwards, but it's been hard to identify what that is in the opening 20 minutes here. So something isn't working for them, so they now have had a chance to try and resolve that and maybe just reset themselves on how they'd like the ball put into the forward line. That support coming from deep as well is probably needed as well, which we haven't seen a huge pile of from the likes of Owen Merchant and Owen O'Dea, who have plenty of pace if they're asked to support in that role. So probably impacts Davis a little bit more than Fianna, but at 4 each, it's a reset and off you go again, and you've 10 minutes to the break, so a chance to from Davis's point of view, is if they don't give away a huge amount of scores coming out into the second half with the elements behind them, it does give them a huge opportunity to be able to score from distance, whereas Fianna will have to work that little bit harder to bring it that bit closer to goal to ensure they get scores in the second half.
Templeogue Sing Street up against Ballantyre St John's. That one started at 3:45 in Group 1. Hopefully we'll get a score from that match. Later on in that group at 5:30 here in Parnell Park, Kilmacud Crokes take on Raheny. That will be live on Dubs TV. Shane Walsh not in the Crokes panel, just in case you're wondering.
Driving the bus, I heard though.
And no Brian Fenton for Raheny. So we're underway again. 4 points apiece. Fianna through Ryan Deegan. Thomas Davis through Ryan Deegan. Win a big mark. Ball switched to the other side. Kyo trying to get around Doran. And that's an Fianna ball.
Great work from Doran there. Strong in the tackle. Probably a 50-50 there, in that he was being pulled a little bit before he managed to, or the referee deemed that he had thrown it. Great take by Ryan Deegan in the middle of the field. Bit of space for Doran here.
Doran at pace, has McHugh inside. Finds McHugh. Gus Farrell. A large crowd to get through there. Farrell kept it alive. That was good stuff. Ryan, McHugh runs into a bit of a wall. He's dispossessed, but it breaks kindly for him. Spills out here. Donal Ryan using his feet well. James Doran. Good take. Aaron Byrne. Byrne. Wide.
Yeah, it's wild from Aaron Byrne. There really wasn't anything on from there. Na Fianna really run into blind alleys there. Thomas Davis are dropping everyone back behind the ball. So apart from Phil Murray, they're leaving up front. They've got everyone else behind the ball. So space is tight. So you need to make sure the passes, when you're confined spaces like that, being a little bit more patient on the ball. And they're not doing that. They're forcing the balls. They're losing turnover. And Davis is much better set up, really causing them problems here in the first half.
Owen Kirby. Deegan wanted it, but Kirby hangs on to it for now. Sean Kennedy, one of the dual stars in this team, making his way down the wing. Gets it now. Kirby. Murray. From the Na Fianna point of view, you don't want to give him time and space. Deegan. Farrell got over to him and just put enough pressure on. It's a third wide for Thomas Davis. By my count, it's 3-2 wide-wise in favour of Davis against Na Fianna.
Yeah, but again, they worked it so well. Bit of space here for Na Fianna.
Byrne was screaming for it. Instead, they go inside to Brian O'Leary. O'Leary, luckily it falls for him. O'Leary to put Na Fianna back in front. That's a fantastic score. His first of the game.
Quite clear to see that when the ball goes in and those forwards are given a chance, they have the ability to get the scores. They're just not getting the time and space on the ball because of the work Davis are doing. So there's a warning shot there for Davis. Any bit of space, these guys are well capable of grabbing a score off it. So far they've been very good in dropping back, but once that bit of space is created, it causes them a problem if they turn over the ball or kick it wide and give Na Fianna a chance to build quickly.
Josh Lambert. Slipping through there, I think that's Kennedy. That's definitely Murray, and it's another free out.
Yeah, it looked like he took Johnny Cooper just off the ball and then followed through over him. The referee deemed obviously a free out and that he wasn't playing ball, he was playing man all the time.
Back it goes to O'Hanlon. Quinn. Merchant wants it, but he actually pointed back towards OD. Merchant wants it from OD, the two speedsters. There's a bit of space for Merchant to run into. Takes the hit, gets it out to Baxter. OD. Good ball by OD. Gus Farrell. Conor McHugh. McHugh doesn't have the legs. Fallon. Fallon pursued by Byrne. Shorten. Kennedy. Deegan. Technically speaking, we're in injury time, but we did have that long delay due to the netting. Good take by Lambert on the run. Goes backwards to Shorten. Deegan. It opens up a bit for Keogh. Another drop short, a third of the game. Doran.
Yeah, and they work so hard to get themselves in the scoring position and then turn it over, and it's now you have to work doubly hard to get back and block up the space.
There's so much to admire about what Thomas Davis have done here today, but just in front of goal, they've been a little bit short. It is the first game of Championship. A game in which Adam Rafter storms up the field and gets a good point.
Yeah, great score. Again, it comes from the turnover from Davis as they've worked so hard to create a scoring opportunity. Keogh drops it into the goalie's hands, and Na Fianna are very quick on the counter-attack. That time it frees up Adam Rafter and he drops it over the bar, but it comes from the turnover. When they're not set defensively and Na Fianna have space, they definitely have the players who can kick scores.
Rafter showing his quality there. Another man who's played at underage levels for Dublin. Here's Fallon. Murray's in the square, but he's been covered by Ono D. Sallier. Good ball into Cian Murphy. Murphy trying to take on Lambert, or trying to take on Fitzgerald, I beg your pardon. Popped off to Owen Lambert, who kicks it wide.
Pity came by in the loop well there. Just another one that drops by for Thomas Davis. Yeah, the referee was very close to the action there. He didn't deem that there was anything going on between both the Fianna and Davis' player. I think Johnny Cooper was involved with Fianna. The linesman is in from the sideline, but I don't think there was anything in it. I can't see. The damage could have been done in terms of how he landed on the floor there, and maybe just hurt his shoulder. Although referee looks to have the notebook out here.
He's having a chat with Johnny Cooper. Yellow for Johnny Cooper.
Yeah, interesting decision to give him a yellow card. I mean, the referee was very close to what was going on there. Didn't deem that there was anything wrong. Linesman comes in and then makes a decision, or certainly suggests that there's something went on, and he then issues a yellow card. So strange decision in my mind.
David Lacey. It is a free in, and Lacey should quite literally let Murray go there. We've seen this referee, he's not afraid to reverse freeze and make big decisions, and Lacey was really risking it by kind of running up to Murray afterwards.
Yeah, I think he just needs to lay down a marker here and not allow the game run away from him. Like, it was a late tackle there. It's definitely a free kick. The ball sailed over the stand, but it was a late hit from Fionn Murray, so correct decision from the referee. But there's a little bit of niggle creeping into it.
Quinn. Fitzgerald. Rafter. Got that wonderful point a few minutes ago. Donal Ryan. Gus Farrell. It's great for Fianna, even though they lost a man early enough. They were able to bring in Gus Farrell, who's got great experience. Here's Doran. Doran trying to get away from Fallon. That's a little bit loose, and a good hand in there. Foot races on. Owen Lambert chasing after it. The ball just beats him, and it's beautifully tidied up by Donal Ryan.
Yeah, he'd looked for the pass a little bit earlier from Ryan Deegan. He had a couple of yards on Ryan before that. Deegan just delayed the pass, gave Ryan a chance to swallow up the ground, and he managed to turn it over and win it back for Fianna. But before that, there was acres of space. Could have left the ball inside. There was a one-on-one scenario. Held on to it a little bit too long.
Fitzgerald trying to get away from Deegan. Again. Deegan's turned it over. That's fantastic work by the midfielder. Now it's off to Owen Kirby. Davis migrating forward in their numbers. And it's another one that they haven't got right.
Yeah, Davy Keogh just not firing for him today.
O'D. Look at him glide over the ground. Then he fumbled it. Commentator's curse. Sean Kennedy hit from behind by O'D. Referee says it's okay. No, he doesn't. He said it's a free.
You have to admire Davis' work rate. They've created so many chances. They've 3 wide. They've 4 dropped short into the goalkeeper's hands. That's 7 scoring opportunities they've got nothing from. But they're still working so hard, turning over possession. They're dominant on possession. It's just up front. They're not managing to get the scores. Maybe the dominance and the pressure that they're applying out the field should be generating for them.
Adam Fallon. Deegan didn't catch it right. A 5th wide for Thomas Davis.
Yeah, it's the wrong option. I mean, they're working so hard. They're really creating problems for Fianna. They're pushing hard on a turnover, pressing on the kick out, and then you sail one wide like that. It just sucks the energy out of you, and it's handing the ball back to Fianna to allow them to build.
Rafter. Fitzgerald. Just slipped through the hands, but fell to Doran. He's been pushed out wide, but somehow got a shot off and got a very good point.
Yeah, probably lucky to get the break, but he's up there, he's helping out. It's a high hopeful ball in. It's trying to pick out Brian O'Leary. He slipped it through his hands, but great again defensive work by Davis as Doran was looking to break through for goal. They stuck with him, certainly managed to kick it over for a point.
Doran, another man who has represented his county. For a second it looked like he might go for goal, but he did the sensible thing and kicked it over. And that's half time, and that's a little bit needless, throwing the ball into the face of Johnny Cooper. Well, what will be the ramifications of this?
Well, the referee is making his way over. It's certainly yellow card material at a very minimum.
Well, half time has come at a good time. It'll allow both teams to calm themselves down and settle. Maybe leaving the pitch together wouldn't be the wisest thing.
Yeah, the referee is trying to get someone over. He's called Cian Murphy across. It was Cian Murphy who popped the ball into Johnny Cooper's face. Yeah, it looks like the Fianna are just holding off there. Ali Fitzgerald seems to be just saying to them to hang back a second there.
And the official comes in as well and just tells them to hang on. That's very clever and very good officiating. It's a yellow card for Cian Murphy for throwing the ball into the face of Johnny Cooper, who himself picked up a yellow card earlier in the half. Well, a first half that had a bit of everything except for goals. We did have goal chances. We had cards. We had good play. We had fierce tackling. At the break, the Fianna lead by 3. Coleman, what have you made of it?
Yeah, first 15 minutes, cage opening, I guess, from the Fianna. They probably weren't sure where they were setting up to go. Davis is very hard in terms of the work rate. 20 minutes, we mentioned there, the big break. Would that have an impact? It certainly did. It allowed the Fianna maybe get into the game a bit. And
normally at half time we play all the scores in the first half, but because we had that big break and we had to fill it with something, we played the scores up to that point then. So let's just play the scores that came after that now.
Yeah, I guess the flick there just gave the Fianna a chance to reset. So Thomas Davis have failed to score since that break, really. They've 4 on the spin, the Fianna. Great work inside. O'Leary in knocking one over the bar. We mentioned about when there's a little bit of space for the Fianna, they certainly have the ability, they have the pace to free up guys. Rafter coming through here, tips one over the bar to add another score onto the board. But again, it's a high hopeful ball across. It's missed. It's Doran who picks it up. He was half hoping maybe he could break through for goal. Smashes it over the bar, gives them a 3-point lead at half time. But the break, who had the biggest impact from the break? Definitely the Fianna in terms of the scoring opportunities that have come their way. But if you look at Davis, they've had 5 wides. They've dropped 4 short into the goalkeeper's hands. That's 9 scoring opportunities where they've got nothing from them, despite the fact that they've been dominant in a lot of instances around the field. Ryan Deegan has worked particularly hard defensively when they manage to get themselves set up. They're causing the Fianna all sorts of problem from a defensive point of view, and then they do have that little bit of pace breaking out. If there's a question mark around them, it's that early ball into the forward line. They maybe don't have someone that they can deliver the ball to who's going to take on his defender and potentially get a score off it. So working really hard, but they've only got 4 points to show for it, despite that little bit of dominance that they had, both wides and drop short. But they will have a bit of a breeze behind them into the second half.
By my count, they've wasted in or around 8 good scoring chances. They've had 5 wides and 3 drop shorts, and if they'd have even converted half of them, they would be obviously up by a point. I know that you can argue it doesn't quite work that way, but you know what I mean. They should be closer than they are. Anyway, half time in this game, it is Na Fianna who lead by 7 points to 4 against Thomas Davis. I can tell you in one of the other games going on at the moment, Templeogue Sing Street are 5 points to 3 down against Ballantyre. They're at half time in that match as well. That also the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship 1. If you want to join the conversation, you can do so on social media. Just don't forget to hashtag GoAheadDSF1. We'll be back in a few minutes with the second half. The first of 2 games live on Dubs TV. Later on, it's Raheny against Kilmacud Crooks, the Dublin and Leinster champions. But right now at half time in our first game, it's Na Fianna 7 points, Thomas Davis 4 points. Welcome back for the second half of this go-ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship 1 encounter of Na Fianna and Thomas Davis. 3 between them at the break. Are Na Fianna worthy of their lead, Coleman Goggins?
They probably are on the basis that they've taken the opportunities that presented to them. They haven't had the same level of wides that Thomas Davis have had 2 from play, and then they dropped 1 short. So they've been a little bit more consistent in terms of their shooting and in terms of it delivering scores, but they haven't played particularly well. Their forward line haven't really clicked for them. Certainly in O'Leary and Lacey they have a threat either side. Conor McHugh is very strong, and then you have the likes of James Doran coming from deep, and Adam Rafter are supporting as well. So Aaron Byrne certainly on the half line. So they've been better in terms of their shooting than Thomas Davis have, but Thomas Davis have been more dominant throughout the opening half. They created more chances. They've only got 4 scores on the board. Their downfall obviously has been that lack of firepower up front. So defensively they're very well set up. They tackle very hard. They don't allow, when they're able to put the ball wide or get a score off it, they then are able to reset defensively, so they cause Na Fianna problems on that basis. It's where they turn the ball over and leave that bit of space. That's where Na Fianna are able to make a little bit of hay, and they've been better in terms of kicking over those few scores. But look, there's a mentioned a slight breeze that was blown down the field to the golf course end, so if that comes with the Davises into the second half, they might be able to move the ball that little bit earlier, give a little bit more time to the forwards on the ball, and maybe free up a little bit of space. They certainly have guys who can kick scores. Difficulty is that they're just haven't delivered in the first half in terms of the opportunities they created.
We're about to get underway in the second half. I mentioned earlier on who is playing who in the next round. That actually has not been confirmed. We'll know that in the next couple of days. Ballantyre St John's now leading by 8 points to 4 against Temple Oak Sing Street. That also in go-ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship 1. A little bit later on here in Parnell Park, it is Raheny against Kilmacud Crokes. Also going on today, Ballyboden against Coola and Round Towers Lusk against Round Towers Lusk in action as well. So Na Fianna, first possession of the second half. Gus Farrell slips it inside to Donal Ryan. Johnny Cooper. It is very warm out there as well, Cohen. I'm sure that will have an effect on things. Cooper. Byrne looking for McHugh. Keeper read it well and kind of pushed it out into the path of his cornerback Adam Farrell.
Yeah, did brilliant, communicated well coming out there. Could easily have smashed into his own guy, didn't. Managed it well. Great goalkeeping.
That's a good surging run by Fallon. Full of running, full of energy, as are most players out there. Owen Kirby. Conroy, pass intercepted into the hands of Rafter. Away from Ryan. Lacey. Good ball. Nice take by O'Leary. Nice turn as well. O'Leary still going. O'Leary, what a block that was. That was Sean Kennedy.
Outstanding, that's body on the line stuff, and that's what Davis is renowned for: hard work, commitment to the ball. What a block! Flung himself across it, one-handed, manages a turnover. A score comes off this, it'll be really a double whammy for Davises.
Sallier. Murray comes out to support him. Sallier. That was a good pass. Owen Kirby with a very good take. Deegan. Cian Murphy. Murray. Will he go for goal or take the easy point? He went for it. It rebounds. And it's over the bar from Gavin Carruth.
Great block off Owen O'D. A great move. Murray came in. It looked like he was doing everything right. He was shaping to go left and he was going to pull it back on himself, but I think O'D came across him to get a block on it. Ball dropped and was driven over the bar then with a boot. But great block, both ends of the field. We've seen a block from Davis has come the other end, and then O'D stepped into the wave and it looked like Murray was going to rattle the net.
Well, I think Gavin Carruth was going for goal, but it just kind of bounced up as he hit it. But as you say, Coleman, it was very important for Thomas Davis to get a score early in this half, and also to get a score having had that block from Sean Kennedy just a couple of seconds or maybe a minute or so before. That's even bigger. That's a good take. It's McHugh. Lacey. Doran. Across the face of goal and wide from Doran.
Yeah, I think they overworked that opportunity there. There was a chance for David Lacey to knock it over the bar on his right side, looked to find McHugh inside. Turned out it went into Doran, who was on a very tight angle there, so probably overworked the opportunity. But again, Davis is working so hard defensively.
Kennedy sails it forward looking for Murray. Very good defending by Ono D, who just stayed with him and kind of leaned into him. Cooper turns away from Sallier. Cooper puts it out in front of Owen Merchant. Lacey. Quinn. Good ball presented out in front for McHugh. Oh, back towards Quinn, but it just went behind him. Kennedy. Cushion pass into the path of Lambert. That's a good dispossession by Ryan. Ryan has O'Hanlon in support.
Yeah, twice he's done that. Donald Ryan, he's got back and nipped in front to win the ball back. You know, up front, we mentioned first half they were lacking that cutting edge. It's still the same for Davis as they're getting so far, but when it looks inside, looking for that pass, looking to try and find someone to grab a score for them, just missing that at the moment.
Doran, beautiful footwork there, got it to Merchant. Byrne turns, runs inside, Byrne, McHugh, what a goal! Merchant, Byrne and McHugh coming together to get a wonderful, wonderful goal for Na Fianna.
Yeah, and we mentioned a great goal, great finish from McHugh. You know, didn't think twice about catching it, put his mitts on it to flip it into the net. But it comes off the turnover from the other end from Na Fianna. They're looking to pop a pass up the line. Donald Ryan tracks back, wins the ball, and they managed to work it out then and create a score. And Na Fianna turning the screw a little bit on Davis is because of that lack of firepower up front.
And a 2-point game turns into a 5-point game. Now, if Na Fianna can get a few scores in a row, it may well just kill it off. Here's Doran. Doran finds a route through. The route then was blocked by Fallon. Byrne. It wasn't an easy finish from McHugh, but it wasn't what you'd call an easy assist from Byrne. And that's a wide.
Yeah, but that couple of times when the pace is injected into it, I mentioned when Na Fianna are able to find that little bit of space they're able to create.
Kennedy. Crilly goes roaming out. Deegan. If they could just tweak things and improve in front of goal, Thomas Davis would have a real chance in this group. So tough is the Dublin Football Championship. You could say the same with the hurling as well. You probably are better off not talking about winning it from this stage, just more about getting out of the group because it is that tough. Murray. Waddock. Kennedy. Carruth. Carruth taking on all comers. That's a good ball. Is it going to be met by a good shot by Fallon? Wide.
Yeah, it's just the Achilles heel at the moment up front. It's not happening for them there. They're working so hard, they're putting pressure on. Just when it gets inside that 40-metre line, they just don't have anyone that's able to win a ball and kick it over the bar for them. And they've lots of people taking pot shots, no one managing to get a score. Oh.
Cooper. And just a reminder that the fixtures aren't set yet for the next round. It's the winners of the first 2 games play each other in the next round, if that makes sense. Looks very much like Na Fianna will be one of those winners at the moment. Brian O'Leary off to McHugh, who's really showing his worth in the second half. He's already scored 1-1 along with a point in the first half.
Yeah, what a great pass in. First real boot that's been put to a ball by Na Fianna. Drove it inside. O'Leary won it, popped it to McHugh, who was coming by on appeal, and flipped it over the bar. It's when the space is there, these guys certainly have the ability to get scores, and Davis is because they're forcing themselves to push up the field to support, because they're not getting the scores in the forward line. They're just leaving that little bit of space that's now given the likes of McHugh, Byrne and O'Leary that bit of space.
Lambert wanted it back in the 1-2, didn't get it. Deegan attempted to launch it. It was blocked by the hands of Donal Ryan and falls into the path of Johnny Cooper.
There's just no movement there at the minute. Their half forward line is not influential. They're trying to hit a full forward line from a huge distance, and it's just turning over for them at the moment.
McHugh looking for Byrne and finding him. Byrne goes to ground, advantage being played, and now the free in to Na Fianna. It was a, if I could put it this way, a clever foul from Fallon, because if Byrne had have gone on any further, he was in on goal. Yeah, but it's the consistency in the turnover ball that's happening to Davis. As they're looking to hit a ball from 60 yards out the field into a full forward line, the movement inside is quite poor. The half forward line isn't shown to shorten that gap where the pass is needed, and what's happening then is Na Fianna are swallowing it up, and they're able to break out a pace and hit the ball into that space. If you allow Conor McHugh, Aaron Byrne, O'Leary, as we've seen, that little bit of space, and David Lacey as well, well, they're going to cause you massive problems, because it's the consistency of numbers back behind the ball clogging up the space that made it difficult for Na Fianna in the first half. The space that's now presenting to them is just that bit easier for them to get the scores or cause problems to the Davis' full back line. Lacey with his second free of the game. Na Fianna 7 in front.
It's a long row back for Na Fianna. Phil Murray's goal chance, you know, after 33 minutes, it would have left it at 1-5 to 7 points. They'd have been up by a point instead. Na Fianna came down the field. Referee is blown up. Someone maybe inside the...
Yeah, if you're inside the D on the kick out, it's a throw in or throw up. That seems to be what he's indicating. Deegan.
He's very strong in the air. It's brilliant for Davis. It's just unlucky that there's not a couple of people there to help him out at the moment. It's turned over.
Back with Carruth, who's fouled, and it's a free out. Well, they're still battling Thomas Davis. A lot has gone wrong for them today, especially in front of goal, but they are working incredibly hard. Shorten. Murray. Murray goes down off the ball after colliding with Ryan. Referees playing playing advantage at the moment. Kirby. Murray. Murray takes on the shot. That's a terrific score.
He didn't have a huge amount of options in front of him, decided to take it on himself and did well to knock it over the bar. Na Fianna looked like they had themselves set in terms of blocking up the space, but Murray did well to turn and flip it over the bar. We mentioned a bit of breeze there. He certainly used it to his advantage that time. Important score, first in almost 10 minutes for Davis's.
And the one thing they do have is time. Just trying to see who went off for Davis's there. Well, going off is Owen Lambert, and he is being replaced by Aon O'Toole.
Yeah, he's worked very hard inside. He's been probably sold short a couple of times on passes where Donal Ryan managed to come back in front of him, win the ball for Na Fianna, but he's worked particularly hard. Probably need to inject a little bit of pace up front, and maybe that's the ask of Aon O'Toole, who's gone in there.
A former Dublin minor, Aon O'Toole. Doran. That's a good block down. Kirby. And that's 2 good scores in a row. Chris Sallier with his first, and it's down to a 5-point gap.
Yeah, great score, great work by Owen Kirby, who got the block on. Great kick out, it looked like, from Dave O'Hanlon, but Doran was blocked down. Turnover went Davis's way, and they managed to get a score off it.
Ali Fitzgerald, that was a terrific goal kick there from O'Hanlon. Here's Doran, who got blocked down for that last score. Donal Ryan back to Doran, who outside of that block down has had a fine game. Here's Cooper, back to Doran. Ali Fitzgerald. Owen O'D. Lacey. Doran. Ali Fitzgerald. Gus Farrell. Farrell laid it off. McHugh has Farrell outside. Intercepted by Murray. Well, we saw last night when Ballymun raced into a 7-point lead, they got a little bit lax and it almost cost them in the end. I wonder, is the same happening to Nafina here? Murray. It's good defending, falls kindly for Conor Baxter.
Yeah, wrong ball. There was too many numbers there. It was easy for Nafina. They had someone in behind and someone in front, so it was just break it down and the other defender was going to mop it up. But maybe the difference versus where Ballymun and Clontarf were last night is Davis has worked so hard all the time to generate those turnovers. They're unfortunate in that up front. They just haven't been firing to the level that's required when you're trying to build up those scores. They've 2 on the spin there, so they've narrowed the gap back to 5 points. So important that they hang in now and try and force a turnover or get the next score just to trim the gap even further and really put the questions. Great work again by Deegan.
Fitzgerald was turned over there. Getting onto it was Aaron Shorten. Kennedy. Shorten. Good take by Gavin Carruth. In O'Toole. Somehow juggled it back to Cian Murphy. Waddick. Owen Kirby. There was that strange moment there where everyone seemed to be bunched along the 45 from both teams. Eamon Conroy. Cian Murphy. Nafina with 14 behind the ball, or certainly around it. Murray. With 3 Nafina men around him, he doesn't panic. And eventually wins the free in.
Yeah, did well, Murray. I thought Johnny Cooper was doing well too from a defensive point of view, but he probably just left the hand in a little bit longer. You know, but Murray has battled hard second half. He's kicked a good score. He's looking to get on the ball. As you rightly said, Davis have been sucked a little bit out the field. They've nothing inside the 21 metre line for maybe a minute or so they didn't really have an option to let Anthony in long. Great work by Murray to win the free. Gives them an opportunity to trim the gap.
David Quinn replacing Conor Baxter. David Quinn very quick. He's a very hard working player. It's exactly what you need in this kind of situation. Murray to give Thomas Davis a big boost here to bring them back within 4. There's no doubt about it, he has it in him to get this. That might drop. It drops kindly at Sallier. Sallier just pins the ears back and gets stripped of possession. Cooper gets away from Murray. Lacey. Doran wants it, he's calling for it, but they don't see him. Now they do. Lacey looking for Byrne. Byrne flicks it into the path of Doran. A vital hand in there from Kennedy. Aaron Byrne still down for Nafina, but we play on. Keogh. Conroy goes with the dropping ball, which, well, it was neither a pass or a shot, was it?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he was thinking there. Right decision, a right idea from Aaron Byrne and trying to flick it on there. Didn't manage to work out from, but it would have freed up space inside. Turned over by Davis, and those chances they're creating. Fionn Murray's free drifts across, Sallier wins it, and instead of coming back out the field, turns into 3 Na Fianna defenders and loses the ball. So they're getting opportunity to create, just maybe making the wrong decision. Great take in the middle of the field by Ryan.
Ballantyre 4 points up against Templeogue Sing Street. Can Na Fianna increase their lead here? It's Doran pops it off McHugh and pushed home by O'Leary. The second palmed goal of the game for Na Fianna.
A referee is going to go in here because he's looking at an option around a square ball, but yeah, he's deemed it a square ball, so free out, no goal.
Okay, well, they didn't cross the flags, but it has been disallowed. I like that bit of pageantry when they cross the flags for a denied score.
I thought it was one of those prerequisites. If the score is disallowed, you have to come across with the flags, but
it's a
big
free
swing. You know, goal one end, disallowed. Davis has got an opportunity through Fionn Murray now to maybe trim the gap back to 4. Definitely within his range.
Murray just off frame. He's unlucky. He didn't swing back in enough.
Yeah, lucky another one from Davis. I have the mark for 8 wides.
Well, if they, I know it's easy to say it, but if they could just improve in front of goal, Thomas Davis, they'd have a real chance of progressing in this go-ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship. At the moment, 12 plays 5 when he make the conversion. Fitzgerald. Quinn. Here is O'Leary, who's still smarting from having that goal disallowed. McHugh. Fantastic score. Very well worked. He's now on 1-3.
Yeah, great show from O'Leary out in front, though. Turns, pops a pass into Conor McHugh. Had to come back onto his left foot if he maybe could have swung on the right side or popped it that way. But great work by O'Leary, looking for space.
Aon O'Toole was a target, but Cooper got across and smartly just hangs on to the ball for a second, doesn't allow them to take it quickly. That's a decent line ball from O'Toole. Might break here for Cian Murphy. Murphy trying to get past his man Donal Ryan, and he's got the free in.
Yeah, and a clever foul again from Donal Ryan. Realised if Murphy got past him, there's goal chance on, so he coughs up a free. Definitely scoreable for Fionn Murray. I said that the last time and he managed to put a wide, but I'll bank him this time.
I think even you'd score this one.
I don't know. You haven't seen me kick a free.
Not even back in your All-Star days, I mean right now. Murray taps it over as you would expect, and Thomas Davis hang on in there. 5 points between them. 8 minutes plus injury time left. With their work rate and the spirit they have, you wouldn't write them off, but it's...
They need a goal, Oisin. I can't see them kicking 6 points and Na Fianna not scoring for the next 10 minutes, so I think they need a goal if they're going to get something out of the game. Great break.
Fantastic break. Cian Murphy. It's opened up a bit for Murphy. And he kicks it over. Now, he did have the option of Chris Sallier, who's running there on the right-hand side, but he just said, you know what, I'll take the point while it's on. Probably the right call, and it's back down to 4 points.
Yeah, 100% right decision. Big break in the middle of the field. They pick it up and they get a score off it. So the pressure on kick out again. You can see Davises are pushed right up.
Who's going to win this break? Quinn couldn't make it stick. Turning and going is Davy Keogh. Keogh continues his run. Sallier trying to get past O'D. That's not easy to do. It pops out of his hand. He gets it back and gets it back to Kirby. Kirby trying to curl it in and not quite giving it enough.
Yeah, unlucky, forced it a little bit. Kirby, I think, again, maybe could have come into the centre before he took on the chance. But great work throughout from Davis as they're putting a press on. They're sensing there's an opportunity to get back into it. I genuinely think it's going to be a goal. They'll need to see it out.
Paddy Quinn. Lacey.
Loads of space in front of the full forward line, but well covered.
Very well covered. Carruth.
Yeah, Adam Waddick has played well. He's covered a lot of ground. He swept across in front of the full forward line there. Gives Davis a chance to build again.
Josh Lambert.
Going to be difficult, Fianna, have everyone pulled behind the ball, blocking up space.
Fallon. That's a great run from Fallon, but Fianna will be wondering how he got through. Fallon! Oh, very unlucky, comes off the woodwork, and Owen Merchant just makes sure it doesn't fall to green. Gus Farrell.
Oh, what a chance. Adam Fallon, the sidestep shimmy, did everything right. Ball pops off the crossbar and just bounces probably half a foot off the goal line, almost dropped in over the goal line and ran across it. So unlucky, great work. Unlucky not to get a score out of the way with Fianna.
Owen O'D. Byrne comes out to meet him. Byrne trying to get around Kennedy. Kennedy, who's had a stormer, but Byrne has played well as well. He's got Lacey inside and he just shovels it over. Great score from Aaron Byrne. His first of the game.
Yeah, big score from Aaron Byrne. Daves has just grown into the game. The referee is probably going to have a word with Fionn Murray here. And maybe he's not. I thought it might look to speak to him just up at the end line there where Fionn Murray had left it a hand in late on Owen Merchant.
Well, David Lacey, who scored 4 points today, gets a well-earned rest.
Yeah, as predicted, referee is going in to have a chat with Fionn Murray. I think just as Owen Merchant had passed off the ball, Murray came across him with a late hit. So I'm going to issue out a yellow card. But, big turnover again. Unfortunate for Thomas Davis. Adam Fallon ball dropped off the post, runs across the goal. The Fianna counter and stick one over the bar through Aaron Byrne.
And it looks like it's going to be Fianna's day unless Thomas Davis can come up with something big here. Gus Farrell. Doran. That's a great run by Doran. Just ran into too many bodies in the end. But they do keep the attack alive. No, they don't. It's a free out. Frustrated is Conor McHugh.
Right decision. He pulled on the ball when Thomas Davis' defender was trying to pick it up. So right decision, albeit came a little bit slow. Great drive and run from James Doran. Ran out of road in terms of bodies getting back in front of him. But just takes the ball away from his own end of the field. Forces Davis to build from deep. 5 points with 4 or 5 minutes left to play. Now, can they manage to get a goal?
Crilly gets involved. Shorten. Well, he's swinging off him, but Shorten got his pass away. Here's Kirby. Davy Keogh. Looking for Murray. Not finding... Well, he does find him. I thought it would bounce all the way through to Sallier, but it's Murray who does get there. And another fine block. Great work by David Quinn. Bounces over the head of McHugh, who had Fallon stuck to him. McHugh doesn't give up on it. Crilly.
Yeah, great block. Murray was probably looking to just free himself to swing a boot at it. Maybe could have looked to pass it, took it on himself. Great block. But great defending the other end of the field from Adam Fallon. Had a good game, had one chance wide, one off the post. Defended well too.
Thomas Davis not done yet.
It's going to drop.
It
Great
does
score.
drop. It's a fantastic score.
Yeah, Adam Waddick, I think, who was drifting up the field there to knock it over the bar. Davis, when they consider the chances, they've 9 wides, they've one off the post, 4 dropped short, huge amount of opportunities created, haven't managed to hit the scores, find themselves 4 points behind. Na Fianna just that bit more clinical up front.
Well, no more than Clontarf last night, who lost by a point to Ballymun. If Thomas Davis do lose here, they can take positives out of it. Glenn O'Reilly is on the field. Ball finds its way to Ali Fitzgerald. And scoring difference could be really important when the final tot-up is done at the end of the group. Good turn by Doran. As always, so hard to predict who'll get out of the group in the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship, let alone who'll win it. Cooper. Gus Farrell. David Quinn. Merchant. David Quinn went to ground. Referee says play on. Rafter. Cooper. Merchant.
Yeah, very difficult for Daves. They're trying to sit back. They're trying to push out. They're trying to play both ways. A great ball. Na Fianna doing well to hold the ball and create a little bit of space.
Glenn O'Reilly lays it off to McHugh, whose goal early in the second half gave Na Fianna a real foothold and a grip on the game that they haven't let go. Merchant. Cooper. Cooper drawing in 2 tacklers and spinning them around. Cooper, does he fancy a go himself? Lays it off to Brian O'Leary. And O'Leary gets what I would consider to be the insurance score.
Yeah, I consider it probably scored a game. Goal was very good, but the way Na Fianna worked that, they dragged Thomas Davis across the field, dragged him out, created that little pocket of space, and then in fairness to Johnny Cooper, drove straight at the defenders. O'Leary came out around and popped a pass to him, knocks it over the bar. Great score, well worked, great retention on the ball. Having not played particularly well, they've been so consistent or so clinical in front of goal with limited scoring opportunities.
Aaron Byrne. Byrne drawing in the defender. McHugh helping him out. Byrne makes his way towards goal. Byrne. It's wide.
Third wide of the half for Na Fianna, second for Aaron Byrne, but cut so hard when he's on the end line there. You don't know whether to push him out or what way to try and defend him. Just pops that one wide on the far side.
Well, you put your hands out there, Coleman. You thought you were going to get that ball.
Once again, I missed out the pass, O'Shane.
A draw between Ballantyre and Temple Oak Sing Street. 13 points to 110. Ballantyre 13 points. Temple Oak Sing Street 110. That's a confirmed full time. What did we say about the Go Ahead Dublin Senior 1 Championship being very, very tight? Parnell Park isn't that tight, but Thomas Davis ran out of pitch and it's a line ball to Na Fianna. I know on TV it probably looks like a narrow pitch, but actually when you're out there it feels very big. Now you've played there and I haven't. Does it feel as big as every other pitch? As Conor McHugh makes his way forward, outside is Ali Fitzgerald. McHugh runs onto his own break. Fitzgerald still battling for it and Crilly gets it and plays it away. Sorry, going back to your point.
No, we'll let you wrap on. Oisin.
Well, Na Fianna, with a 5-point victory, it might have been different for Thomas Davis had they taken even half the opportunities that they created. The positive is they created them. The negative is that they didn't take them. Na Fianna open up with the win, 112 to 10 points. Coleman, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Thomas Davis's work rate. Really managed to upset Na Fianna's forward unit. Didn't really get into the game, despite the fact that as the game wore on they had a little bit of space. You did see a little bit more from Aaron Byrne, Conor McHugh. Brian O'Leary was very good throughout. James Doran certainly created space, as did David Lacey. So Davis is hugely effective in terms of how they work, their defensive application. the pressure they put on the kick out, some of the turnovers they won, where they will feel they let themselves down today was their shooting. They had 9 wides, they had 4 short, they went 1 off the post as well. So there's a huge amount of scoring opportunities they left behind them. Plus they had a massive goal opportunity for Fionn Murray before Na Fianna's goal came, which would have put them a point to the good. So when you consider how low the scoring was across the game, you know, those chances that are missed, particularly when you get a goal chance against one of the, you know, bigger or more expected teams in terms of Na Fianna, you've got to take all those chances, and they probably feel that they've left a little bit behind them, albeit Na Fianna will look at it on the other side and say we didn't play particularly well, we still managed to knock up a fairly decent score in 112, but certainly room for improvement for Na Fianna. And then, you know, if Davises can build on the defensive application that they apply and add some scores into it, they've a huge opportunity in getting some results across this group.
Let's take a quick scan through the scores in the second half.
Yeah, I suppose, Na Fianna probably started the best, but, you know, again, we mentioned Davis's work rate, fantastic block, full stretch to reach across him. Here's the goal chance you spoke about. Fionn Murray, Owen O'Dea stood strong, huge block in front of the goal. Dave O'Hanlon had committed to his left where I thought the ball was going to go, but O'Dea managed to get a block on it. And then what happens? Na Fianna come the other way, Conor McHugh hands it, palms it into the net, and all of a sudden the score is 1-7 to 5 points when it could have been 1-5 to 7. That had an impact in that Na Fianna managed to tag on 2 more scores after that. One from Conor McHugh from play, and then a free from Brian O'Leary. Great score from Fionn Murray, gave a little bit of a lift, had it a 1-9 to 6. There was about 15 minutes, and then here's this disallowed goal. James Doran pushing through, McHugh picks up the ball, look across the field, certainly standing inside in the square, but, you know, rule around the square ball. Conor Murray certainly think that Brian O'Leary was in the right place in knocking it home. Great score. McHugh turning onto his left foot again. Brian O'Leary was instrumental in that. Murray kept the scoreboard ticking along, knocking over a free. Just couldn't find that cut through to land some of the big scores. Cian Murphy managed to tag one over as well, had it at 1-10 to 9, and there was a 4-point deficit or gap at that stage. Yeah, great score. That's the shot I spoke about. You know, he'd worked so hard coming up the field. Adam Fallon unlucky that it hit the post and they didn't manage to pick it up, and again Na Fianna came down the field off the break on that, and Aaron Byrne fisted over the bar. Again, Adam Waddick, I think it was, come in, and Fionn Murray, another great block here, real commitment to the ball. Great work. Both teams really defensively, but, you know, Thomas Davis really exceptional in terms of the work done. And then Johnny Cooper running through here, pops it back to O'Leary, who was effective throughout the game to wrap up the scoring for the Fianna, 112 to 10 points. You know, through and through, certainly, you know, Na Fianna had that clinical edge we mentioned about, that scattering of Dublin players across the team, the individual brilliance. You can certainly see that when they're allowed that little bit of time and space up front. But, you know, Davis they're trudging off here. They're unhappy that they know that there was a result possible here for them if they'd been a little bit more clinical in front of goal. They had enough chances, they had enough opportunities, but just unfortunately left the shooting boots at home and allowed Na Fianna, you know, get that goal. The one chance that they had, they didn't manage to take, and had a big difference on the scoreline at the end.
We had a bit of a delay in the first half because there was a problem with the netting on the golf course end goal. That's why this game ended slightly later than you would expect it to. Na Fianna beating Thomas Davis 112 to 10 points. As soon as the final whistle was blown, Kilmacud Crokes and Raheny were out on the pitch to do their warm-up. It's a fairly tight turnaround. That game is going to start at 5:30. Also today, Templeogue, Sing Street and Ballantyre drawing, and Ballyboden are taking on Coola at 5:30, and Round Towers are up against Whitehall as we speak. There's a couple of other games going on as well. We'll try and keep an eye on all of those. We'll keep score updates coming through, but we will show you this game between Kilmacud Crokes and Raheny. We'll take a little break before it starts. We'll get into the team news and all that and do a full build-up with Coleman Goggins. But for now, I will say thank you for watching Na Fianna and Thomas Davis. We'll be back in a few minutes, so join us then.